So the first thing we're going to do before we get started on coding is we have to get our text that has been had the p tags added to it. So go on and you're going to run all that. That was in the previous video. And then we're going to copy all of these lines and pay attention to where the 3 asterisks are, because that is going to be where you put in section breaks. So we'll hit Command C to copy it. And then we're going to move to Visual Studio Code. And we're going to be in our starter project. And you'll remember that we go to line 125 and we highlight starting there all the way to the end of the commented text. And that says to do, add story content. We'll hit Command V. And now we have all of the story. Now, to make sure you can see it okay, go to View and you're going to go to Word Wrap. And you'll be able to see the paragraphs. Now that we've added that, we can go into Go Live. And we can just check and make sure all the text is in there. Now that we've done that, we're going to go and we're going to update our metadata. So click on your metadata.js, and that's where you're going to write your own names, emails, Twitter account, and then type in, the bio information, and make sure you do that for all of your teammates. So when you preview it, you should see the correct information there. Now, you may not end up using this at the bottom because most of you are not staffers, but leave it for now. Now we're going to borrow code from a file called the kitchen sink IDS template, and that has examples of photos at different sizes, video embeds, and also for your data wrapper, you can use some of these different options to embed your graphics. So the best way to do that is to go to the website. The URL will be github.com/ids/digi/kitchen sink article. You can also reach that on your GitHub desktop. But just go ahead there and you'll see you have an option for code. And this is not something we want to edit and push. So I'm just going to have you clone this and bring it to your, basically to your local website build out folder. So we'll click on code and we'll go to download zip and then hit show in Finder. And you can open it up. I've already done this. And you can drag it into your, wherever you're keeping your build out. I've already done that. Okay, so now that you've done that, you can drag it on top of your icon for your Visual Studio Code. All right, when we click on Go Live here, you'll see it has, as I said, different sized photos. It has a side saddle photo, 2 photos next to each other, this kind of neat photo collage, a video embed. So lots of things that you can borrow code from and then obviously update it to your links and your information. So you'll be able to tell by the logical way they have named the classes which of these photographs you're looking at when you look at your code. They start with the smallest first. So when we look at the code, you'll see here when you click on the index.html that they have at the beginning, they start with figure class equals small dash image. And then they have figure class equals medium dash image, large dash image, extra large dash image, and XXL dash image. And notice that for each of these, they've included the figure tag with this class attribute, and then underneath that, they have embedded the child element of image, the image itself. And this image was placed on the IDS server, which is an Amazon server. So they have the final absolute URL for that image once they place it on the server. You're going to replace this with your own local location, because we're working locally until, at the last step, when we're done with the build out and we hand it over to the IDS, they will place the photographs on their server. So you'll have to update that. Notice then underneath they have the fig caption, and you will update that obviously with the person who really shot the photo and also the real caption. And that closes there, and then the figure closes. So to capture everything you need, from the photograph to the credit to the caption, the fig caption, you have to start copying. Let's just go ahead and do a medium image. Again, open figure, then an image source, then this fig caption, closing fig caption, and closing figure. Hit copy, and then you're going to go into your real build out. I just switched over to it, and I will find the index.html, and this is where you will read through and decide where the photo is supposed to go. Remember that it must go between the p tags, and it must be between the closing p tag and the opening p tag. We'll paste that in, and we'll say save. So now when we go and we look at that, you'll see that it's been updated and it's in there. So if you want to do it now, you can go ahead and type in your new caption information, your new credit information, and then update the actual source of the photo. I'm just going to go in here and type in and you would update your alt text as well to describe what's really in there. This is probably the trickiest part, updating the image source. So as I said, this was the IDS photo that was placed on their IDS server. But you're going to make a folder locally called images and put your images in there. First thing we can do is we can go to here and say add folder to workspace, and make sure that we are adding it to our starter project. And we'll say new folder, and we'll call it images. Okay, so now you'll see along with your other folders, you'll have your images folder. It's empty right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put a photo in it. So I will go find a photo, copy it, and put it into that folder. All right, and it's important, as always, with any photos or folders, that everything is lowercase and you don't have any spaces. I have little underscores so that they really aren't technically spaces. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'll add that to the code. This is important. We have to, let me zoom in so you can see this, highlight just the link, not the quotation marks. You need those quotation marks. And I'm going to hit paste. But that's not enough. It's not going to find it because, remember, we have to tell it what folder it is in. So we're going to do images / Imperial War Group. And I'll have to change my alt text because I couldn't find my tree branch. So I'm going to assume now that you've put in all of your photographs and you have edited your captions and your credits. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the section separator code from the kitchen sink and put it in here. As I said, you have to pay attention to where your writer has those 3 asterisks in the story. So to format those, let's go to the kitchen sink article, and you can look for, it's called section P class equals section break ... paragraph. So you're going to copy this whole entire line, and all it does is it creates these 3 dots centered. So we'll go in between 2 P tags, the closing one and the opening one, at the place where the writer had specified those tags, and hit paste. So now it's going to show up shortly after this image. There it is, right there. So add those wherever they need to go. Once you've done that, I'd like to show you how to embed a YouTube video and one of your data wrapper graphics. Again, we can go to the kitchen sink. So we have a small graphic, so we could just use this one, but let's look down here at the bottom and you'll see they have this kind of side saddle setup. We don't need to have a caption with our graphic because it will contain information, but that's okay. We can borrow that side saddle option. So make sure you're in the kitchen sink and go down to where you see, after all of these figures, we're going to go down to where it says figure class equals wide left. And that wide left spaces it so it can be off to the side like that. We're going to start at the open figure tag. And we don't need the fig caption, as I said, but we'll copy all the way to the end just to make sure we get the opening and closing tag. And then we're going to go to our own design, and we'll just go down here and pretend like we need to add it between this closing tag and opening tag. Okay, let's get rid of the fig caption. The only thing we have left is we need to update our source. So we'll go to the data wrapper site and we'll publish our graphic, and then you'll see share and embed. You want to select on responsive iframe and copy that embed code. And in your code, you're going to just completely wipe out the image tag and replace it with that iframe link. And now you can save that, and you'll see that it goes right here. We also want to show you how to embed your YouTube videos. So we're going to have to use a little coding assistance from an online application for that. So we will go to a site called Embed Responsively. And what that does is it takes things like YouTube videos, Google Maps that have like these clunky iframes that don't always respond to different size screens very efficiently, and it writes additional code for you so that it does. First, we want to find the actual YouTube video, and remember your videos have to be published first. And also, it's important to know that the IDS wants to host the video on their own YouTube channel. So even if you've published it on your YouTube channel, when you give them the final build out, you want to give them the raw, high definition edited video so that they can then upload it on their YouTube. We'll go ahead and find that. And I'm just going to use this video. And the place that you get the embed code is down here where it says share. And we can hit copy. And then we're going to go back to this embedresponsively.com and we'll paste it in and hit embed. And it will give us this, and we'll hit copy. And then we're going to go back to the build out and we're going to find a spot and we'll just paste this code just to hold it there for a minute. Then we're going to go find the size image we want to put the YouTube video in. So we'll go to the kitchen sink. And remember, we have all these different sized frames, so we'll go ahead and we'll choose the large image and hit copy. And don't forget open figure all the way to close figure. And then we'll go back to our starter project and we'll paste that in. Okay, and then instead of image source and having all this information, we'll get rid of that. We'll put this on top of it. So copy. And paste that. And hit save. And you want to have maybe a little bit of information about the video itself, so you can fill that out. Let's just see what that looks like. Save it. And there it is. And as I said, here's the information. You probably don't need a byline here because it will have it in the actual YouTube video. I also wanted to show you how to make a quote out, and you can go to the kitchen sink again for that. You'll find, if you search under quote, you'll find right here around line 270, div class equals pull quote center, and then class equals quote. So we're going to take this entire div, copy that. We'll go to our index.html, go in between and paste that in, and obviously type in your real quote and your real information. We'll hit save, and there it is. So you probably also want to know how you're supposed to style things differently if you want to use your own typefaces. And I would recommend that you don't change the body copy or anything to do with the navigation or even the captions and bylines, because those are part of the IDS style. But certainly you can work on the headlines. So let's go over into your CSS. So make sure you're in your starter project. I just want to show you the IDS CSS. So you'll notice that they have their paragraph styles, their quote styles, their body, and you'll see here that they have an H1-2. It's a multi-selector style here, and this has to do mostly with the positioning of the H1 and H2, which are up in here. But then you'll also see they have right here a multi-selector that changes the font family. In order to be able to specify a font that you don't have in the build-out already, you need to go to Google Fonts and copy the code over. So to find our fonts on Google, we'll go and Google the fonts. And open that up, and you're going to look through here, and what you want to try to find, if you're doing like a headline and a deck head, you want to have at least 2 different weights for it. So if it says it only has 1 style, that's probably not what you want. You can also search under categories, and if you're looking for sans serif display, that will eliminate some of the other ones. You can look for fonts that are a little bit thicker, and I found Pregati Narrow, so I'm going to go with that one. So we click on that and select the bold and select the regular. If you're going to do this, then you should select all of the fonts that you plan on using, for your headlines and your quote outs, everything, because you want to just copy 1 line of code into your HTML doc. So we'll go ahead and copy this. You should also pay attention to how these are specified. So I'm just going to copy this to remind myself in my notes. And then I will copy this to put in my index.html. So make sure you go to your starter project, index.html, and remember these links all go up in the head section. So you can see here we have Font Awesome. Let's go ahead and put it after that. And we'll type in our own comment here that says Google Fonts. Okay, now save that. And we'll go back to our style.css. Remember, we don't want to make any changes in the IDS. We just want to look and see how they're referenced for a guide. And as I said, in this case, all 3 of these as play fair display. So we'll go ahead and overwrite that in our style.css. And we'll make sure we use the right reference to the font. I'll save that and go look at what it looks like now. Okay, so it definitely took the new typeface. You can see you need to adjust the size a bit, so we can do that now. So to change the point size, we'll go back into the IDS CSS to see where it is, and they just have it written individually here because you can't just do a multi-selector. They're all going to be different font sizes. H1 is 32, H2 is 40. So you'll highlight those, copy them, and go into your style.css. And underneath where you have the H1, H2, you can paste those in. And as I said, you can go ahead and type in a larger point size. Save that, and then go ahead and what that looks like. So you get the idea. So this is a good place to stop, but we have a few more things to do in the next lesson, including choosing from different kinds of headers and also helping you use the inspect element option to help you figure out when you're looking at other code what is controlling it.